Okay, welcome. Haven't done a video in a little bit. Figured before I actually open the tabs and sort everything and then delete it all, I may as well showcase it on YouTube for people that haven't been watching the stream. I farmed 200 burial maps. Now, personally, I don't really like these videos. I think they're kind of like obvious videos. The kind of, how do I word it? They're like self-fulfilling prophecies, and that's why they're kind of like hard to stop watching, because typically if someone's put up a video of returns from 50 maps, 200 maps, 100 maps, whatever it might be, um, they've probably got good stuff, and that's why they're making a YouTube video. So that's kind of why it seems that when people do these results from, they always have a lot of currency, so bear that in mind. So I've been running burials now. I've just finished 200 maps. As you can see, I've got my loot here from the 200 maps that I just ran. Took me quite a few days. I'm not a super fast runner, and I was doing other things in between, but 200 maps, I'm figured we'll see how we go. So I'm not going to drag the video out. I've actually got a little story to tell you about a scammer, and I want to ask you what's your most elaborate scam that's happened to you in Path of Exile. But before we get into that, I'll show you the currency. As I've mentioned, my YouTube channel is not partnered anymore. It is not monetized. It is not anything. I earn no revenue from it. So when I make a video, it's for my own enjoyment. It's to share it with you. If you want to support me, there are ways to do it. Links in the description. But just want to let you know that, yeah, that's how the channel keeps going, is through your very kind support. So, to not waste your time, as I don't have to drag this out to 10 minutes, that's one of the benefits of actually not being monetized. I can do what I want. I can play some music. I don't have to drag it out. These are the results. Apparently, it's just calculated it now on Currency Cop. And I'll run you through exactly why some figures are bigger than they should be and some are smaller than they should be, etc. So it tells me, in my tabs that I have farmed, I have got 12,101 chaos, and an exalt is 170. So I've made 71 exalts in 200 maps. So that is what I have apparently made. Now, I'll explain why that is so high, and I'll explain why it's kind of thrown. So, Divine Orbs, I've been using some prophecies and certain things to get a lot of Divine Orbs. That's why that has ended up with 84 Divine Orbs. You're not typically going to get 84 Divine Orbs from 200 maps, no chance. Parandus coins, 36,000. 21,000 of those Parandus coins are from previous running. I've just ran out of space and had to include them. So 21,000 of those are not included in the price. That is half the amount. So that's 500 chaos gone there. Jeweler Orbs, I've picked up 4,553. That's 600 chaos. Alterations, I've picked up 785 of them. Towards the latter half of the 200, I'd say after the first 100, I made my filter show alterations to look like Chaos Orbs, because I do like to alteration spam, and I don't like trading for them because they're quite expensive, so I figured I'd start picking them up. Orb Effusings, I probably used 100 on a Wind Ripper that I ended up 5 linking and selling for an Exalt. So that's why there's 366, and also you're probably looking at this, 37 Exalts from 200 maps. What? Well, these 37 exalts include everything I've sold. So the way I calculate how I've made money is everything that goes into the burial tab that comes out of burial, I either use it to then generate more currency, or yeah, it's just in there for doing nothing, right? So I did get a doctor's card on map 43, I think it was. That was a straight 18 exalts. So that means we've got 19 exalts to get now in 200 maps, or 150 maps, but still 200 maps total, right? 19 exalts to find in 200 maps. 2 exalted orbs dropped. Only 2. Not very good. 2 I bought off Parandus, because I ran Parandus on each map. So that's 4. So that's 15 to get now. Some came from sales. I had a couple Wind Rippers sell for an exalt. And then other things, like when you farm this zone, sometimes fossils will drop, because you're doing legions a lot and stuff like that. And I ended up crafting 2 helmets that sold for like 3 and 2 exalts. That's 5 exalts right there. And there was all little bits and bobs of stuff that was selling that I was either picking up from burials or turning my burials into cash. So this isn't a pure, this is what I found in burials, because that's not realistic. But this is kind of what I ended up doing with the 200 maps worth of chaos and stuff that dropped. Now you'll notice there's only 93 chaos orbs here from 200 maps quant farmed. Why is that? Well, I wasted a lot of currency running Perandus on every single map. I've just done it this whole league because I just figured, why not? I've got the currency. I do want to attempt to maybe get a headhunter off Perandus, maybe get some exalts selling, maybe I get a mirror selling. It's obviously not going to happen. I think the odds are like 1 in 200,000. I haven't ran 200,000 maps. So jeweler orbs, alterations, we've got those 319 alks. I've been using the alks from inside the tab to actually sustain, as well as val orbs to alk val my maps. Chisels, I haven't used any chisels. I've picked up 328. I've got 117 extra burials, which apparently is worth 161 chaos, but I highly doubt anybody would buy them. Her mass cards are worth apparently 91c, because they're basically 1 exalt, 1 chaos, per set. Again, sacrifice pieces, I've used them. So I've put a sacrifice piece in, and because it's alked and corrupted, you get a sacrifice piece back. So I've pretty much sustained sacrifice pieces. That's why there's not many up here. I've got 89 gambler cards. I've got 5 annul orbs, 9 exalted shards. Interestingly, I haven't looked at this. 51 Makareth splinters, 200 scourings, 33 sextants, 19 journeymans, 90 Orb of Regrets, 1 green timeless emblem, 13 divine vessels. Now these Val wins, I'm using them, so don't include those in the price. They're actually more than they're listed for. They're listing them at 3C, they're worth more than that, probably double. Gem Cutters Prisms, 31. I also used 20 of them to quality one of my gems. These timeless jewels, they don't count, they didn't drop obviously. 2 red emblems, fully farmed. 2 white emblems, 3 orange emblems. That's interesting, I didn't realise I farmed that many. 2 ancient orbs, 57 regals, 77 chromes. We've got 32 Orb of Horizons I've picked up, 1 Harbinger Orb. What else have we got that's interesting? Also, my filter doesn't show any breach splinters, because it doesn't show a lot of things. My filter is very, very strict, because I didn't want to spend the whole time picking stuff up, so it doesn't show anything that's pretty much not currency or worth clicking. 55 white emblems, it's got a few shrieking essences. They're the only essences I show are shrieking and screaming. Half a red one there. There's 9 val orbs, because I use the val orbs to actually get going. That red sextant doesn't need to be in there, that's not included. So there's a load of stuff here that we've found that this website, this currency copy, is counting as pure, worth. A lot of it won't sell. Am I ever going to sell a Spell Custode level 21 for 2C? No. So, all of these types of trades down here, your baubles, your maps, prophecies, weird little things, blessed orbs, hope cards, they're probably not going to sell, right? I'm probably not going to sell like half of them. I'm probably only going to be selling like the main things. The stones I'm going to be running. Jeweler orbs I'm going to have to sell. But the bulk of the currency came from just pure doctor cards and selling things. It actually wasn't that profitable. I'll show you what I did so you can figure out, this was my strategy. I just decided to do it for a bit of fun. I basically rolled, you can see here. This is 24 because I've done 12. I'd roll 36 maps, so that's 3 lines. I'd have 3 lines of sacrifice pieces, so 1 for each map, and I'd get my sextants. I needed 24 white sextants and 12 yellows to last me 36 maps. I didn't do any re-rolling of sextants. The only time I'd re-roll if 2 were really good and the third one was rubbish, I would then make sure the last one was good, but otherwise I didn't re-roll. Sometimes I put Val wins on. They're going from 3 to 5C. They're now about 8C. I have stopped doing that since. and Pirandas on every map. It was costing me to do 36 maps, 263 chaos, because I was putting Pirandas on, which absolutely ramps up the price dramatically. So if we look at this and we go, I ran 200 maps, and I spent 263 chaos each time, and then I divide it by an exalt, it costs me, 263 maps per 30. Let me just do maths correctly for you. 200 maps divided by 36. We ran 5.5 sets. So 5.5 sets, and a set cost me 263 chaos, is 1,446 chaos. Now, if you make that into exalted prices, about 8.5 exalts to roll the maps. So we knock off 8.5 exalts off this. We knock off the one lucky doctors. That's like 27 exalts. All of a sudden, you're looking at 10 exalts. You knock off a few sales that may or may not happen. That's 5 exalts. And then you're looking at this is probably like 3, 4, 5, 6 exalts. You're probably looking at maybe 8 to 10 exalts. But I did happen to get a doctor's card, which I know is lucky. But that's what happened for me. So yeah, the reason I'm making the video isn't to like show off or brag or anything like that. It's just I really need to clean the tab so I can play the game. I have no space, and I figured before I did it, I may as well show you. I've got a few stacked decks as well, you know, that I could turn in. They might be worth something. Maybe there's some other things in here that it's miscalculated, or it's worth more, or it's worth less, but that gives you a rough idea of what's been going on. I'm now going to clean the tabs and yeah, tell you the quick story. So the quick story is about the scammer. I'd like to know if anyone has scammed you, or what's your most elaborate scam you've heard of. So I'll give you a demonstration. Back in Betrayal League, you could get pure breach stones, which were even better than they are now, and people would run them in rotations. People would do them in blocks of 6, so 6 people would come in, they'd probably run 5 stones, they'd pay an exalt if it was like a Yule Natal or a Chayula or whatever the rate was. So people would sit in trade 820 like this, they'd sit in trade 820 and they'd wait to join and see a rotation, and they'd see the host, check if he's trustworthy or as best they can, and then they would ask to join. So you'd sit in here in trade chat, you'd wait to see, okay, like this guy, right, he's doing a rotation. You'd message him, you'd go, you know, let me in, and then you'd get in. People would go in, they'd trade the guy, okay, this is the main guy, here's your exalt, and then they'd wait and they'd run 5 maps, and then they'd leave, or they might stay and do some more. Now, what was interesting about this is that went fine until there was like a squad of people that were infiltrating parties, and I thought this was pretty smart. Like, it's scummy, but I had to respect the hustle. So what they would do is they would be like a low level character, like level 20, level 30. They would ask for an invite, they would get invited, and then they would get kicked if they were to be noticed that they were a low level character. So because obviously a low-level character can't do maps, it can't do rotations, so the party owner would kick the guy. Or the person that just joined would say, sorry, I didn't mean to join this one, and then they'd leave. And then 6 people would come in, they'd all pay their exalts, and they'd run the 5 maps, and that was fine. But what they were doing was they were joining, so what they would do is they'd ask for the party invite, then they'd join the leader's hideout. And in the leader's hideout, once you're in, you're in. You can sit in someone's hideout forever. You don't time out if you're not the owner. And the only way to get around it is to create a new hideout. Well, we didn't know these people were actually hiding in the hideout. So what happened was these level 20 people would join. They would leave, quickly get in the guy's hideout, and then leave. Then they would hide in like an area of the hideout like this, just close enough so they could see the map device or something like this, right? And what they'd do is when somebody came out and they'd just finished their 5th rotation, so he'd sit and he'd count 5 rotations, and it's important he'd count 5 because if he traded me on the 3rd map, I'd be like, why is this guy trading me? I've already paid, I've done 3 maps, we've got 2 more to go. He would then wait, he would wait for the rotation to finish, and then when we popped out, he'd wait a little bit, he'd right click, and then he'd trade. And then you would obviously be coming out of the map, just finishing the rotation, you'd be dumping your stuff in your stash, you'd be like, yep, I'm well up for doing 5 more maps. You'd get your exalt out your stash, and then he would come in and trade me from like a hidden bush, and then you would trade him the exalt because you were running so many maps, you forgot who the leader was, you were just kind of coming out trading an exalt, running 5, trading an exalt. But we ended up trading this guy hid in the corner. And so then, when the guy that actually had the breach stones was like, okay, it's time to pay, we were like, what are you on about? We've just paid you. And then he was like, nobody's paid me. So then we were like, what the fuck is going on? And then somebody noticed on the mini-map that there was a green dot and someone was like hiding here, and it was just like an unknown shadow level, unascended shadow level 3 just chilling, who had obviously got our exalts, realised he'd been rumbled, wouldn't respond to any of our messages we were typing to him, and the only way to get rid of him was to create a new hideout and remake the party, because you couldn't kick him out of the hideout. Now, I don't know how long this was going on, but I reckon that guy, or the little group of people that were doing that, were making a lot of currency. So I thought that was pretty funny, and I'd share it.